Hey, hey, hey. So today I want to talk about how I healed my mother wounds for my children. And before we get into it, I am Siobhan, your community cultivator, and I am deeply passionate about community, sisterhood, and personal growth. So if that's your jam, keep on watching. And so I will say this, I didn't realize this early on, but now that I reflect and I look back, I did the inner work to heal my mother wounds because of my children, because I didn't want to repeat the same behaviors that I saw growing up. I wanted better for them. And I'm sure you're like me and you're like, you know what? Yes, I had a very dysfunctional childhood growing up, or there were some things that happened in my life that I'm not satisfied with, or my mother and I never had a great relationship, and you wanted better for your children. The thing is, even though sometimes you want better, you tend to repeat the habits and behaviors that you saw growing up unless you do the work. And so for me, I learned early on when my daughter was small, and she would ask questions like, where's your mom? And, why we don't ever see her? And every time she would ask a question, I would cry. And then I would see some patterns in myself that I was repeating that my mother was doing because I didn't know how to mother. Right? And when I started seeing those patterns show up in my life, I had to take an initiative. And for me, that was going to therapy. Best decision I could have ever made. And over time, I've been, doing a lot of journaling, more inner work, having conversations with my husband about this. And I said, you know what? The reason that I went to therapy and I consistently show up for myself and I do the work even when it's hard is because I don't want my children to have to relive my mother wounds. That's not fair. And so if the work that I have to do is hard right now, and it's so that they can have a better life and that when they become adults or what have you, they're not reliving my pain, it is all worth it. And now I'm in a space where I feel like my children are so emotionally healthy. Yes, there's room for opportunity and growth as always, but for the most part, they've seen me do my inner work. They've seen me heal. We have very open conversations about it, and they're not going to carry my pain. And as I said in another video, I broke the cycle, the generational trauma and curses or whatever you want to call it, it stopped with me. And so now, because I healed my mother wounds and I continue to show up for myself and my family and my community, they don't have to relive that. And so I want the same thing for you. Like, I know you want to be a better mother. I know you want more for your kids. And I know you've been suppressing the pain because I suppressed it for years. And I ignored how I was really feeling until everything just came right to a head, if you will. And I don't want you to do that. I really want you to look at your life and look at your children, look at them in their eyes and be better for them. Do not allow your kids to relive pain because you chose not to heal. This work is not easy. It is hard. It is triggering. But let me tell you one thing. I would go through it 100 times, because my children are healthy. And we have such a beautiful relationship. So Mother's Day is coming up. And for some, if you're like me, it may not be the best day for you. So why don't you take this time to start your inner healing? Start to uncover the toxic patterns that showed up in your childhood with your mom. Start to go back and heal your inner child. Start to really begin to acknowledge your mother wounds and how they're showing up in other relationships. It is time to do the work. And I'm going to give you a gentle hug and say you can do it. I created the Motherless Child Guidebook, a sacred space for healing your mother wounds to support you on the journey. And not only is it a digital guidebook that you can print out with soul writing prompts, but there's videos with my face that will be there to just offer you the encouragement that you need to get through it. I also created a music playlist because I love music. There's affirmations and just additional resources to support you because I know what it feels like to have mother wounds and not acknowledge them, but I also know what it feels like to be healed. And so I offer that to you. You can go to the motherlesschild.com website to invest in your healing today, themotherlesschild.com, and invest in healing your mother wounds because, again, you want to be better for your children. And most importantly, you want to be better for yourself. And again, if you don't need this video or you don't have mother wounds, but you just said, I want to watch this, I want to see what Siobhan is talking about, share this video with a friend. Share it with someone that you know can identify and it will help them. So then that way they can start to do the work themselves. And then also maybe buy the guide for them. Buy the Motherless Child Guidebook for them, and then allow them to have that resource so then when they're ready to do the work, they don't have to go searching for me. The work is already there for them and they can pick it up whenever they need it. So again, themotherlesschild.com. Have an amazing day.